I had a segue.
Oh, you did?
I hate that word.
Segway? Have you ever been on a Segway?
Can you try to spell it?
Yeah, isn't it Segue or something like that?
That makes no sense at all.
English language is weird, man.
You know what does make sense?
What?
He's Ryan.
He's Brax. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. We do this every week. Why wouldn't it make sense?
I don't know. Names are weird too, man. I don't know if Ryan makes sense or Braxton makes sense.
I think phonetically they make a bit more sense than Segue. I'm sorry,
True.
Segway. I couldn't get it right because it's spelled so weird. It's like Kuewa.
I've always wanted to ride on one of those, but I doubt they're much fun.
Wait, right? What?
A Segway?
Segway?
Yeah.
You should check out Linus Tech Tips on YouTube.
Okay.
You know them?
I have, yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah, they are masterful at segues, or rather terrible at them.
Really?
Just like I am, all the time. You want to know also what we're bringing back from the depths of hell?
Should I even ask?
You should ask. Come on.
All right. I'll bite. What great one are we bringing back from the depths of hell?
I'm so glad you've asked today on this day, Ryan. This day that is the 20th of July, I believe.
Well,
2020.
that's they were recording, but
it's been a while.
This will be in the ears. So I went on the 21st.
It's a time capsule that we're bringing to you, to your ears, through your pods of listening, or speakers that reverberate through the sound. And the sound that is about to breach into your ears is none other than something that we've left alone for a little bit. Put it in a little pocket within the news segment. But full feature-length film here, full feature-length podcast. It is time for Unearthed Arcana 2020. Welcome to the dungeon crawl again. We already said it, but he's Ryan.
He's Braxton.
And today we're going to be covering the feats that have been released in Unearthed Arcana. The full episode. Ryan, are you excited?
I am a little bit. Feats are a little easier to manage than, whole new subclasses.
They're a lot easier, but I think there's a ulterior motive here that I want to talk about. And of course there always is with Unearthed Arcana, but I want to talk about that at the end. And I wrote it down, so I will not forget. I promise you.
You better not.
I will not forget. Unless I can't read my handwriting, which is quite likely. So I honestly have no idea how long it's going to take us to cover these things. I truly have no idea. But again, disclaimer and to buy time. This is play test material.
Yeah.
This stuff has not been officially released in anything.
Not at all.
You may be excited about it, but if your DM is like Ryan's, like I've said before, he prefers to go buy the book with things that are official or stuff that is really well thought out and released.
At the very least, talk to him. Don't just bring it into the game without saying what you're doing. Same with any homebrew content.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff in here, to be honest.
So, before we even get into it, I want to I just want to say right off the bat that I, besides like maybe one or two of these, really like these.
I'm very curious as to which ones you don't like. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But overall, I think these are great feats. I think it's much more just simple bread and butter D&D. This is the type of feats people want to use. I don't know. What's your general thoughts before we dive into specifics?
Well, the important thing to bring up now is like, what is a feat? And
yes, that's a good point.
I asked when were they added, but I have no idea. Because it used to just be ability scores, correct? You would just increase your ability score by 2 points every time you leveled up.
I mean, they were little, perkies and things here and there, but yeah, feats specifically, I want to say, I don't know if they were in 4th edition. They might just be a 5th edition thing.
The interesting thing about them, too, is oftentimes in the player's handbook, it does say consult your DM about whether you'll be using feats or not, or something along those lines. And there's options to not use feat on things like D&D Beyond, which is very interesting. So just sticking to the ability score increases. But I think feats are they're a lot more fun. And what they do with this collection of feats specifically is taking that +2 to any of your ability scores, knocking off one of them. So now you've got +1.
Feats were introduced originally in the 3rd edition.
Oh, damn. So they've been around.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just crazy then. So for
you don't
feats,
get,
like I said,
they don't happen too often in D&D. I mean, you only get them every 4 or 5 levels or something.
Yeah, it's not often. It's whenever you get your ability score increase, and it's a very critical point. And if you look, there are feats that don't increase your ability score, but almost all of these do.
Yes.
So you're essentially losing an ability score increase for oftentimes in this, getting any first level spell that you can cast without a spell slot, or that you can cast with a spell slot with your appropriate level spell slot, getting the bonuses there. But it, of course, uses that spell slot. And they're bringing back also that feature where you're able to change things that you receive through these feats every time you level up. So you're not stuck with your choice. So they're bringing back a lot of things we've seen before in Unearthed Arcana, which I like the consistency there. But there's a bit of agnostic stuff going on in here. They're making it to where anybody can get, the quirky thing that you dip into fighter for, or the quirky thing that you dip into sorcerer for, which
well,
I'm a little scared about.
No, I'll talk about the sorcerer one because I actually we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. Is that the one? The one
I don't like?
Yeah.
No. That one I like.
Okay. I like it too, but it scares me.
See, it doesn't bother me.
It's you don't know the Warlock.
Well, we'll see. We'll
see. Okay, so
we'll get into it.
Let's get straight into this with something.
Hang on, before we, because we've never really talked about. We've never really talked about feats on the podcast before, and you have what, 2 feats or just one right now?
I use feats every time I level up.
Yeah, so every
time I get them.
You don't like using the.
No, that's boring.
Yeah, the ability score.
Unless I rolled shit or we started with point buy and it's specifically low, I would then maybe go with an ability score increase, just to make sure I'm utilizing the fullness of my spellcasting modifier or whatever I use to deal damage.
Fun, getting a feat. It's like getting something. It's like a new ability you get.
And oftentimes, most feats give you a +1 in an ability score. Now, it would suck to get that +1 in something that wouldn't quite reach the next bonus. So if you went from 12 to 13, you wouldn't be getting an extra plus to your rolls with whatever that ability is until you got to 14. So it's a bit of a long endeavor, but
some feats are sucky, though. I'll say that right now.
Some feats are sucky, but you get to pick.
Yeah, overall,
feats are really cool.
Feats are really, really cool. I mean, like, you have the Inspiring Leader right now.
That one's insane.
And I think you have Sentinel, right? Or no, you have
Polearm Master. So I can
Polearm Master, right?
Sentinel's the one where if somebody leaves your range, you poke them and they stop if you hit them.
Right. I know we always get confused about that in the middle of the game too. Like, which one do you have again?
And another thing Sentinel does is, I believe, if somebody gets attacked by somebody within your range, you get an opportunity attack on them within 5 feet, or whatever your weapon attack is. I don't know what it actually is, but I have Polearm Master. We can get into this. We're not talking about old feats today. We're talking about shiny new ones brought in by Unearthed Arcana straight to you at your doorstep. Open that package. Smell the new feet smell. That's a funny synonym.
It's gross.
Not synonym. What's the word that means a word sounds like another word?
Homonym?
I think that's what that is. I haven't thought about that in a long time. Okay. Getting straight into it. There was some hot topic lately. I watched a YouTube video about DLCs that need other DLCs to be used. Now, technically, this isn't the case, but this is an artificer thing.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So it's like, if you don't know or have the artificer, now you don't have to use this, but it's like you need the other material to use this material. So it's a bit wonky. It's a tabletop game. That's just kind of how they are because it's non-digital.
Well, I think because they want Artificer to have more legs. They want to, because they're updating all the other classes. Granted, this class just came out, but I think they, don't want to just keep it stale. They want to add things that work for everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, this starts the theme off right away. You basically are now able to learn some of an artificer's investments, granting you benefits. Now, full stop there already. You've got a point about this that I think you would probably like to make about learning something in D&D.
I mean, okay, so not everyone's like this, right?
Not everyone.
My preference when it comes to multi-classing and it even says, if you want to get proficient with certain things, you have to study it for X amount of time. Same with if you want to learn a language. But with multi-classing, it doesn't say it says you have to have certain stats, but that's it. It doesn't say you have to go, spend 30 days with a warrior to be able to become a, barbarian or a fighter or something.
Right.
And so in my game, I always tell my players, if you want to multi-class, great, fine, whatever. But it has to make sense. We're not just going to say suddenly, you can now, cast Eldritch Invocations. Now you can suddenly, now you have inner magic when you never did before. So that's something that we'd have to talk through. And of course, I'll work with the player and make it fit and make it happen. But I hate just it, on a dime happening.
Yeah.
Especially this one. This doesn't make any sense if a player just suddenly learns how to be an artificer.
None of these make sense, really, except for maybe meta magic. Because sorcerer stuff usually just happens to them. They're the chosen ones, basically. So this one, but I think it's the only one that gives you
D&D as a system is not really RPG focused, like role playing focused. It is much more kind of on hand systemy. There are other systems like Planescape, I believe, is much more role play focused.
Which is odd because it's D&D, it is the role play, but that's neither here nor there. Or maybe it is the issue. Maybe we'll come back to that at some point. But for Artificer's Initiate, you are learning a cantrip of your choice from the Artificer spell list. At first level, it's intelligence for the modifier, for the spellcasting ability as well. You can replace it when you gain a level with something else of the same stats and specifications. Ryan is the word I'm looking for, if I can focus here. So you can cast it as a first level spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it again. Much like Eldritch Invocations, a lot of the spells you get granted from those are this way. But you also gain proficiency with one type of artisan's tools of your choice, and you can use that type of tool as a spellcasting focus, which is pretty cool.
Well, what's interesting to me, though, about the cantrip and the spell is the Artificer doesn't have any, as far as I'm really aware, that are, specific that no other class can ever get. They're all just generic spells, so it's odd to me that this is a whole feat when you could just get a feat that gives you, like, a wizard spell or something. Really, I guess what you're getting for this feat is the bottom one, getting the extra proficiency.
Yeah. It's an avenue to get another spell, but I didn't realize that. That is kind of lackluster in that sense. But that's a product of the design of the Artificer itself rather than the design of the feat itself.
Every class has that. There's a lot to bleed over.
Yeah.
There's no one spell that's specifically for a class.
Yeah. For this one, if you really have a Tinkerer and you just didn't want to play an Artificer specifically, this would be your shoe-in, of course.
Well, that's also something.
The same for all of them.
How often in our game, and maybe that's just the way we play, how often in our game does artisan tools come up?
Not.
We've only used, as far as I can think in my brain, we've only used it once, and that was recently when someone used a disguise kit. Other than that, they've hardly been touched in our game, and I don't know if that's because we play differently or.
I think it's because we don't have any players or characters that have a backstory with them. I think it just depends on the player itself, because in our campaign, we just don't need to do it. But Nikki, she does have proficiency in forgery as well, which I think that would probably come up too. So maybe we'll be dealing with this a bit more. But the next one's kind of quirky.
Yes, this one I really like.
I was excited about this one. Take it away.
So this is the chef one, and basically, it says the time and effort spent mastering the culinary arts, which has never been mentioned before in D&D. There's no cooking.
Ever.
There's no cooking ability score. So you increase your Constitution or Wisdom score up by 1, which, as Brad said earlier, most of these have some sort of up, which is quite nice. You also gain proficiency with cook's utensils. If you already have it, badass.
Hell yeah.
Part of a short rest, you can cook a special food, provided you have the ingredients, of course, which this to me sounds cool from a role-playing standpoint, too. You have one guy that cooks for the squad every night. You can prepare enough of this food for a number of creatures equal to 4 plus your proficiency.
Which is a shitload.
That is a lot. Yeah, at the end of the short rest, any creature who eats the food and spends 1 or more hit die to regain hit points regains an extra 1d8 hit points. This would be super nice in the middle of a dungeon or something. Though I would argue if you do this in the middle of a dungeon, then the smells would go around, and so then the other monsters could.
This is the kind of DM that I play
could
with.
Smell what's going on. Like that smells yummy. Let's go check
out to get me at every damn corner, man.
With one, and then the last point is with 1 hour of work or when you finish a long rest, you can cook a number of treats equal to your proficiency bonus. These special treats last 8 hours after being made. So basically, for the whole adventuring day, a creature can use a bonus action to eat one of these treats to gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. So it's important to note that this is almost like a mini little health potion, because ruled as written in D&D, to drink a health potion takes an action, but a lot of people will homebrew it to do a bonus action. So this is basically like that.
Oh. I thought bonus action was the actual rule. You've been going easy on us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Praise the
well, because it sucks. It feels bad to use your whole turn just to drink a potion.
Yeah, it's like playing Monster Hunter against Kolv Taroth, like I've been on stream at twitch.tv/Nesugiru.
All right, shout
out. She hits you, and then you swig a potion, and she hits you again, and it's just not fun.
Yeah.
I died a lot.
I mean, bring it Monster Hunter. This is very much is like stopping off at the chef place on the way through.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're getting some sort of bonus and proficiency stuff. This is like that.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. So I want to dissect the last bit, because my first thought was, okay, proficiency bonus only goes to 5, correct?
Yes.
No, I'm not very sure. I think that's the case. I think it goes to 5. I could be wrong. But that means it has a cap, which first made me think, okay, this isn't that great late game. But then bonus action, you can make this. They last for 8 hours. There's really no limit to how much you can make.
It goes to +6.
+6. So, I mean, this could save you for sure. Can you stuff it in somebody's mouth?
Like force someone to eat it?
Do temporary hit points bring somebody back up from being knocked out?
I would say no.
Probably not.
Because they're temp.
Yeah. Okay. So I have mixed feelings about the last one. I think it's great and really cool, but I think it's a bit lackluster, maybe late game.
True.
But, I mean, you can make a ton of these things, and they can just keep snarfing them.
Again, this is also Unearthed Arcana, so they're still working on these. This is my favorite feat in the whole list, I think. I want more things like this.
This is my favorite flavor-wise, but I have a different one that I think is fucking ridiculous.
Well, because a lot of feats are much more, they're not really unique. They do things, but they're things that you could either do with another class, or you could homebrew it or whatever. This is like a whole new kind of area of D&D that's never really been touched on before.
Well, you'll notice that they've introduced not only things to dip into other classes, but proficiencies with items, weapons, and in this case, food and utensils. Yeah. I think those ones, the latter ones I just mentioned, are where these 3 pages shine.
Yeah.
And next up, we've got one of them, and I think it's the worst of the quote-unquote 3 damage types that we've got here. It's called Crusher. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Okay. All right. So, this one is increase your... you are now practiced in the art of crushing your enemies. Bruh.
Sounds nice.
Granting you the following benefits. You can increase your strength or dexterity. The dexterity I don't really think works here, but I think they wanted to do it just so it didn't... They wanted it to be good. If it was just strength, it would be really pigeonholed. But I don't think dexterity should be a part of this, to be honest. To a maximum of 20, of course. Once per turn, when you hit a creature, if you dealt bludgeoning damage, you can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided that it is not any more than 1 size larger than you. So, I mean, if you're off a ledge or you're doing something, you can do like a Sparta kick in a sense and knock them off a ledge. But I've never felt that pushing something away 5 feet was great, other than the fact that they have to move 5 feet to you.
Yeah, moving that type of stuff doesn't really... Yeah.
It saves you from the opportunity attack if their reach is only 5 feet, yada yada. That's kind of lackluster. So when you score a critical hit, that's the next one that deals bludgeoning damage. Mm-hmm. Attack rolls against this creature are made with advantage until the end of your next turn.
Yes, that's...
Go ahead.
What do you mean?
Make your point. Go ahead.
Okay, you're done? You want me to tell you why it's almost borderline broken? Busted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So a champion fighter, if this gets in the hand of a champion-specific fighter, and if let's say you add another feat down into it, Great Weapons Master, whatever, sure.
Oh, I forgot about combining shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you add that onto it. So now, you got 3 attacks per round, okay? 4, technically, if you kill or get a crit on somebody. Then as soon as you crit, which you would on rolls of 19, maybe 18, you now have advantage until the end of your next turn, making it more likely that you would then get another crit.
Okay. All right.
That's what I think the broken part really is the advantage until the end of your next turn.
I still think the one that I pick is better.
But
now I think this one's better than...
It's nutty, man.
This is number 2 for me now, out of the 3.
Yeah.
You've convinced me, but I still think mine's better.
Okay.
For probably the same reason. Okay, so...
You may take this one. I don't know if you can handle it.
I don't know if I can handle it.
All right. Okay. So you might want to cover your ears, Braxton.
Okay.
So the next feat is Eldritch Adept. The prerequisite is that you have a Pact Magic feature or a spellcasting ability. So this basically, and we touched on this on the last episode in the news section, how you study some occult lore. You have then unlocked Eldritch power within
yourself. You don't
yourself.
just unlock Eldritch power.
Okay, all right. No. Yeah, I mean... Okay.
I'm spicy.
You learn one Eldritch Invocation option of your choice from the Warlock class. If the invocation has a prerequisite, you can choose that invocation only if you're a Warlock and only if you meet the prerequisite. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace the invocation with another one.
Okay, so hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a Warlock, I don't know how many times you get to increase your ability score or get feats, but this, you basically get one more Eldritch Invocation.
Which is cool.
So I'm glad that they made it do something if you take it as a Warlock. But bruh, you best have a good reason.
Well, how many invocations are there that don't have any prerequisites?
There's a good few.
All right, let me look at them here. There's the Armor of Shadows. Okay, yeah. This one's got a 9th level prerequisite. There's a little more handful than I expected. Obviously, the ones that you need to have a Pact of the Tome or a Pact of the Chain, obviously you can't. But even like the ones that have prerequisites just of levels, I don't know if they're really worth grabbing. Anyway.
Do you want to know my notes that I wrote on this?
I'm going to say you just mentioned that it's stupid, sucky.
No,
crap.
I wrote, bitch ain't unlocking shit.
Yeah.
Get off my stuff.
Damn. Which invocations do you have currently?
Oh God. The one that makes, let me pull up my thing.
Okay, it's not a big deal. I'm just curious.
No, I want to know. I want to know this because it's important. People need to judge my Warlock.
I mean, there are some really cool invocations here that I could see a regular player one to grab.
Yeah, it's just weird that it's like a feat to get another thing. And I guess that's all feats, but
I would have to work with the player to decide how they got it, and B, depending on what the feat, like if they're grabbing Mask of Many Faces, where you just cast Disguise Self on yourself, then I might even just reorder it and say you don't get that from Eldritch Invocation stuff. That's just an ability that you get that from something else because you don't necessarily need to get that ability from an Eldritch being.
You ready for this?
Yeah, what's up?
So I have Agonizing Blast, Tomb of Levistus, Improved Pack Weapon, Thirsting Blade, and Whispers of the Grave.
Probably I forgot
the most basic choices of shit.
Yeah, I forgot there's some in Xanathar's as well.
They're all the good ones are in Xanathar's.
Yeah.
All of them. So what I would say for like in a role-playing sense, think about Fire Force. I know you haven't seen it, but for those that are anime inclined out there, there's this sense that people get if they've been touched by fire in a certain way or they've experienced near death within fire, that they then can kind of have this ability that the main character has, but not fully. So liken that to somebody like a warlock who crosses your path and he uses one of his spells on you or something, or puts you into the void for like half a second. You're void touched. You have a link to it a little bit. You don't progress anything there. Maybe nothing really happens out of it, but you just have this quirky ability is how I would probably do it. Something like that. I'm just spicy. It's like Warlocks are the most weird class They have the weirdest mechanics outside of probably the druid.
Monks got some weird stuff too.
Yeah.
All the key points and whatnot.
Monk. Don't take my shit.
Well, would you be saying this if you were a sorcerer as well?
We're not there yet.
Yeah, but would you? You would?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
And maybe that's just selfish. Maybe I need to broaden my horizons. But
what's your opinion on multi-classing?
I like it. I like multi-classing because it's like a dedication to something, and you are obviously losing out on higher level things if your class is a 20th level or whatever you decide to do. But this is literally just I'm gonna take that. That is now mine, and it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna take that.
Because normally you have to multi-class in the Warlock for 2 levels to get any invocations.
Yeah, you gotta swim a little in the void. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta swim, you gotta live in it. You gotta seep. You gotta marinate. Just like you would if you were Fey touched. You know?
Nope.
No?
No, that would have been better for the chef feat.
Damn. Okay, I tried. So if you marinate in the Feywild for a little bit, your exposure to it now allows you to gain a magical mark. You've been marked by experiencing the Feywild, or somebody left this on you. Whatever you want to say, your intelligence and wisdom can now be increased. Also, charisma, I forgot. So one of these 3 by 1. You learn Misty Step, which is underrated.
Nice. Yeah, it's very underrated.
And I wrote, and all caps, question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Okay. A first level spell of your choice. First level spell must be divination or enchantment. You can cast, again, same thing, without expending spell slot. You can also cast it if you use a spell slot of the appropriate level. The spell's casting ability is increased by the one that the feat requires.
Cool.
So whatever you increased. So
nice and simple.
I think that's pretty cool. Nice and simple. You get a spell, you get another spell, and they're cool.
Yeah.
If you like divination enchantment and you want to get a fancy tattoo somewhere on you, you know?
It's quite nice.
Pretty straightforward.
I mean, nothing in depth.
This one doesn't trample on anybody's class. Just maybe your culture a little bit. Maybe you talked to an elf and he gave you a cool tattoo because you helped him out.
Well, combine this with the Feywild subclasses that have been coming out. There you go. Now you got some lore going on.
I like these.
Yeah.
These ones I'm fine with. But see, for the next one, I feel like it's kind of okay, but maybe it's just because it's not Warlock, but I feel like everybody can fight. But go ahead. You got this.
The fighting initiate prerequisite just being that you have proficiency with a martial weapon of any type. Your martial training has helped you develop a particular style of fighting. As a result, you learn one fighting style, option of your choice from the fighter class, which there are some pretty sick ones. You already have a style. The one you choose must be different, which would be stupid if you chose the same one. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace the feat's fighting style, similar to what the invocation was before. So it just gives you a fighting style, which, again, kind of takes away the whole point of multi-classing.
I would take this.
Yeah, I could see you taking this one.
I would take this. I like it. So, again, this is where I first put my note of, again, trying to have alternatives to multi-classing. I want to hear their opinions on multi-classing and the reasoning for why they're making these and what they're trying to alter. I'm sure it's just going to be more options, more accessible, but I'm super curious. Not much else to talk about with this one. Again, it's just kind of ripping from the fighter. If you want to have a fighting style, there you go. The next one.
Because, if you were to multi-class in the fighter, you get that at first level, but this just gives... that's pretty much all you get at first level anyway. You also, I guess, get like second wind and that type of stuff, but...
Second one's good. The next one, at first I was like, okay. And then I think it's one of the best ones on this list.
All right, tell me why.
So you now are a gunner, and you have a quick hand and a keen eye when employing firearms.
Which is important. Okay, before we get into this one, important thing is make sure you talk to your DM and make sure there are guns inside the world. And if there aren't, then obviously the DM needs to work with you to make this work for you. But don't just
They're in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which I didn't think they were, to be honest.
Yeah, but not many D&D places or D&D worlds utilize firearms.
Yeah, mine haven't or don't. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't include them if somebody really wanted to have it.
Yeah, I've only had them once in our world.
I think I remember, but he never got to use them.
No.
So you can increase your dexterity. Now, it's odd that this is the one that only allows you to increase dexterity, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
By a score of 1, of course. You gain proficiency with firearms, which I'm sure there are plenty of ways to do that, but this will just flat out give it to you. You now ignore the loading property of firearms.
That's huge.
Whoa.
It's very, very important.
I just wrote bruh next to that. Now, being within 5 feet of a hostile creature does not impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls. You just go right up to that guy's face and shoot him with your bullet that you don't have to load.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
I think this is one of the best ones on this list.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure exactly. So are they just saying that the firearm never is infinite and never has to reload?
So let's see. Let's do a Google here.
Well, the reload, the thing, it just means there's a limited number of shots with each weapon, and you have to use an action or a bonus action to reload it.
Because of the time required to load this weapon, you can fire only one piece of ammunition from it when you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to fire it.
Mm.
You can use a bonus. What? Weird.
Yeah.
Regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make. So now, if you have the ability to make multiple attacks, you can fire this multiple times, allowing that the fact that maybe you have multiple attacks that turn, you can do it. Whereas previously, if you had multiple attacks, you could only fire it once. Basically, you're adept and you can now reload within your same turn.
Okay.
Flavor it as like a gunslinger that has a quick reload thing on like a revolver or something like that. I don't know. Does that make sense? I think this is really cool.
It is. It's very, very cool.
Now, would you take Gunner if you were a ranger? Are there other ways to remove the 5 feet disadvantage rule on ranged attacks?
Yes, there are other feats.
Okay, so then never mind. But I think this is one of the best ones. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to me. There isn't a class that specifically, at least, a official class that is specific with firearms.
No, but I could see them making it. The Swashbuckler, I don't think they have anything.
Well, there are
classes.
There are like homebrew classes and classes that D&D Beyond has published, like from Critical Role and whatnot. But there aren't any like straight up official ones.
Yeah. I don't want to take the next steps into the next one.
Why not?
It scares me.
Meta Magic Adept? You don't like this one?
Oh, I love it, but it scares me.
Okay, I'm curious to see
the
why
power,
it scares
Ryan.
You. It's not that powerful.
It's powerful.
All right, so yeah, you want me to take this one while you simmer in your excitement?
Simmering.
Okay, so Meta Magic Adept, you gotta be able to cast a spell or have a pact magic feature, yada yada. You learn how to exert your will on your spells to alter how they function. You gain the following benefits. You learn 2 meta magic options of your choice from the sorcerer class, which, should we talk about what the meta magic options are in case no one's ever looked at them?
We should indeed, to give them the idea of why this is ridiculous.
Okay, so normally you get these at 3rd level as a sorcerer.
That's a lot of commitment.
It is a lot of commitment. And there are a couple important ones here, such as Subtle Spell. You spend a sorcery point to cast without any somatic or verbal components. That gets used all the time in my game. There's also things where you can twin a spell. But this is not too powerful for Meta Magic Adept, but twinning spells is very, very powerful. There's Careful Spells, which allow you to force a creature to make if you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, then you can protect certain creatures in the area. Wizards also have abilities like this. So there's just kind of ways to, as it says, alter and kind of craft how your spells work. So taking this feat, you get 2 of these. You can use only one option on a spell when you cast it. So you can only use, either Subtle Spell or Twin Spell. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace one of your magic options with another one from the sorcerer class, and you gain 2 sorcery points to spend on meta magic. These points are added to any sorcery points you have from yada yada. You regain all spent sorcery points when you finish a long rest. All right.
Okay.
Maxon, why is that powerful?
Warlock, Twin Spell, Heightened Spell. You can't take Heightened Spell, Extend Spell.
You cannot Twin Spell yours because the sorcery points you use has to be equal to the spell's level. You get 2 spell levels, 2 sorcery points.
Are you kidding me?
I told you this is not that powerful.
I didn't even realize this can't work on a Warlock after level 2.
Yeah.
Or whatever. What?
So you're screwed, man.
Why do they even make this?
Because there's more options than twin spells, man.
But even outside of a twin spell, you couldn't use it.
Why not? Oh, for Warlocks, yeah.
For a Warlock.
No. That specifically twin spell is when it, like, subtle spell is you use 1 sorcery point to cast without any somatic. That's it. Twin spell
cast
specifically.
A spell that targets only one creature, doesn't have a range, so you can catch a number of sorcery points equal to spells.
Yes, twin spell specifically is the one where it's uses a lot. Because that's twin spell is super powerful, so you use a lot of your sorcery points on it.
Okay, so quicken spell would be spicy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Quicken spell is quite nice. I mean, there's, extended spell could be cool if you want to charm somebody. Empowered spell could be nice. I mean, there's some nice ones here.
Get it out of my face.
Now,
out of here.
Out
of my face.
I think this is the most powerful for a sorcerer already because they get more meta magic options and more sorcery points.
This is no longer one of my favorite ones on this list. I'm removing the star that I have there.
Oh my god, I'm sorry to ruin your excitement there, man. No, I was wondering why you were so hyped about this.
I had to learn somehow.
Yeah, you had to be burned one of these days.
All right, let's move on to the worst of the 3 damage type ones.
Okay, Piercer.
You ready? Piercer.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're real good at penetrating. And I mean like really good at penetrating.
Okay.
So much so that your strength and dexterity could be increased by 1. Only one or the other. You also now, when you hit a creature with your piercing prowess, you can re-roll 1 of the damage dice, but you must take the new roll. Okay. So whenever you are critically piercing somebody, you can roll 1 additional damage die when determining the extra piercing damage the target takes as you pierce through their armor and clothing. It's all right.
It's all right.
Now, you can stack this with things that, like, whenever you deal damage, X happens, like some of the Warlock stuff, or there's a cantrip. There are things that deal extra damage however many times you touch or deal damage to somebody. So
it's kind
this
of
would
like
give you another proc of that.
It's kind of like a crappy lucky, though.
It is kind of like a crappy lucky. So I think this is the worst one of the weapon types.
Yeah.
The weapon damage types.
Yeah, I'd rather grab lucky over this one.
Yeah. So I don't know why I said this one was better than bludgeon, the crusher one, but I did, but it's not. And I wrote wink.
Well, I think you were putting too much weight on crusher on the moving 5 feet.
Putting too much weight on crusher?
Yeah, you're crushing it.
Oh God, we have jokes here, man. But you know what's not funny?
Being poisoned?
Yeah, it's very not funny.
No, especially in D&D. I love seeing your guys' faces when I hand you the poison card that I have.
It just needs to be stopped.
You guys get so happy, though. It's so much
poison
fun.
in D&D is one of the worst things in existence.
It is real sad.
Why is it so strong?
Because you're poisoned, man.
I don't know, man.
Poison is well, because I think the reason why it's strong is because you have to fail a saving throw first.
That's very true.
And if you are crappy enough to fail that saving throw, then you deserve something bad to happen to you. At least it's like petrification. Petrification's bad, but you have to fail 3 saving throws.
Yeah, but at that point, if you fail 3 saving throws,
then screw you anyway, dude.
Basically death. So take it. What does Poisoner do here?
All right. So Poisoner's a big boy here. You can prepare and deliver deadly poisons, gain the following benefits, which would be fun if you're a rogue. I mean, obviously if you had the classes, but specifically if you're like an assassin type rogue, this is cool. When you make a damage roll, you ignore resistance to poison damage. So screw if, let's say it's an assassin who has drunk all of his poisons and now has resistance to it. You've made your own poisons that this guy's not
Hold on. You ever been in Skyrim and accidentally just started drinking and eating all of your potions and ingredients?
Not accidentally. I've gone to town and drank them, yeah.
Okay, well, if you eat ingredients, you often learn their effects. And there have been times where I just somehow am pressing the select or eat button, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And you get that little noise and like several effects, and your vision blurs.
You drink a lot of skooma.
Bruh, I am fucked up.
Yeah,
That's what you just reminded me of.
Okay, so you do that, and then you can coat a weapon in poison as a bonus action instead of an action, which is huge because I have a player who has a a dagger that they can coat and cover in poison, just a dagger of venom. But that takes, you don't really think about it ahead of time, and you don't want to waste a whole action on it in the middle of combat. So this is huge. This is quite nice.
It is very big.
Then you gain proficiency with a poisoner's kit if you don't have it already, with 1 hour of work using a poisoner's kit and expending 50 GP worth of materials.
That's a lot.
Nah, well, I mean, once you've been adventuring for a while, it's not that much.
Well, I'll contradict that point later in this paragraph.
Expending 50 GP worth of materials, you can create a number of doses of potent poison equal to your proficiency bonus. Once applied, the poison retains potency for 1 minute or until you hit with the weapon. So just one time. When a weapon coated in this poison deals damage to a creature, the creature must succeed on a 14 con save or take 2d8 poison damage to become poisoned until the end of your next turn. So you want to save this for some big boss fights, I guess.
Bitch, what boss has 14 constitution and can die from 2d8?
At low levels, man.
Yeah, but you gonna have 50 gold points at low levels?
Probably not.
This doesn't make sense. You're not going to use this when you're level 20. It does nothing.
Well, once you level 20...
Except for poison.
I mean, a lot of feats you're not using anyway, right?
If you're a smart player and you pick good feats that, grow with you.
True.
Like a lover.
Like Polar Master.
Yeah. This is the worst one on this list.
Really? The worst one?
By
what about...
far.
Nah, so far you're right, yeah.
This is the worst one. And I guarantee you people homebrew poisoning stuff is a bonus action. Guarantee you.
Well, I'm sure. But, I mean, maybe you could argue that... I don't know if this would break their balancing, but you could even make it so that as you gain the higher levels, the con save increases or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the con save should be related to some sort of proficiency you have. Your proficiency, but maybe 14 constitution plus your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be really high.
That would, so maybe not that.
20 con. So I'm not sure, but I think that 14 con save needs to fluctuate somehow for this to be good. And the poison damage,
or you take take half the poison damage if you succeed, which at least something happens.
To the end of your turn,
end of your next turn. That's a long time, man.
Next turn. I don't know. I think this is the worst one on this list.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to get the dagger of venom. It does the same thing.
It does the same thing,
and they're poisoned for a minute.
They are,
and the DC is 15.
Also, let me ask you something.
And they take 2d10 damage, so this is much better.
It's much better. So let me ask you: Did you peruse DM's Guild?
I have perused DM's Guild. Why do you ask?
Because that was the prerequisite to enter the newsroom.
Oh.
We've entered the newsroom. Kind of late in the episode. But we talked about on the Discord bringing you guys stuff from the DM's Guild, because Ryan peruses that thing a lot. And I've got like one bit of news here. It's been pretty calm.
What news?
I would love to know about. Oh, okay, yeah.
No.
This is the newsroom. We'll start with the news. So D&D Beyond again. They released a quirky, cute little thing that I read up on. It was about 5 days ago, because I'm working on making a world, and I don't know how magic really will be, how prevalent it is. And these guys did a little article on their news page, world building with magic. And they added some nice and cute little sections like how common is magic, magic as an institution, magic of the gods, magic as items, relics, or as tools, which I think is really, really cool. So maybe your players can't have innate magic, but they get these items and tools that allow them to have it. But they have a little write-ups under each of those segments.
Okay.
Check it out. That's really all the news I have.
Yeah, it's a sad week, huh?
It is a sad week.
No, it's been it's getting through the year. There's not much. Things are starting to slow down until books start releasing. Yeah, it's been chill. So I only have one thing right now. I'm gonna dive into DM's Guild more at the end of the month.
Okay.
But this caught my attention. It's not out yet, but I definitely think you guys should look out for it. We'll post it on our Twitter after we finish recording here, because it's super cool. I don't know if you guys have heard of, I can't remember what they're called. There's been a few kind of anthology type series on DM's Guild that have been centered around like Greek mythologies. Uncaged here, yeah. Uncaged anthology. They are so good. Super cool. There's been 4 of them. My God, I've only read the first 2. But they're awesome. There's amazing artwork, great short little quest line and adventures in there. Definitely recommend them. That's not what I'm talking about here, though. But this is another. No, this is another. So I guess I have two then. If I want to give those a shout out, this is another kind of anthology type series. As far as I'm aware, it's not out yet, and they haven't said exactly when it's going to be released. But I signed up for an email whenever they will release it. It is called Eyes Unclouded. It is heavily inspired by classic Japanese animated films.
What?
Yeah, the artwork is gorgeous. It looks so cool. I have no idea
right now.
I have no idea what the adventures are going to be like, but I'm very, very excited for it.
Why is this not in my DMs right now?
I'm sending it, man. It's super, super cute. The little description is navigate a mysterious, luxurious wizard's court while a threat encroaches from the starscape. Delve into a forest to find the truth behind a long-running war. Entreat the Cat King in a magical forest. If you want to know more about this, go to the Twitter page at incandescent. Okay, I'm going to spell it. INCANDESCAENT. And we'll post it on our Twitter. Definitely recommend signing up for their email list if this at least remotely seems interesting to you.
So I'm going to like and retweet that. So they obviously are drawing inspiration from Ghibli films.
Yes, they mentioned that, yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, it looks super cute. I'm excited.
I wonder if it gets dark at all, or it kind of stays like the danger that's depicted in Ghibli films. Like,
well, those get a little dark occasionally.
They do get dark, yeah.
But I would say still stay quite lighthearted.
So I wonder, because you see the art and you can feel the inspiration, but I wonder how they translate that inspiration to the game.
Right, how the adventure
curious to see how that. Yeah, that's something to definitely keep eyes on. It's like Ryan mentioned, I completely forgot, but doing DM skill stuff every month at the end of the month, bringing you guys some things to possibly utilize, look at, or investigate. Why is Dante trending right now?
I don't know.
Oh, it's because of Megami Tensei. Shin Megami Tensei?
Yeah, because it's on Switch now.
Yeah, that thing.
But the reason why I think this specifically is a adventure module is because the Twitter account says, someone asked, what was your contribution? And they said that they wrote an adventure. So I imagine there's going to be multiple adventures inside here. So keep an eye out for it, guys. Sign up for the email list.
So we need to quickly exit the newsroom, get out, evacuate. Danger.
1 page left.
Something's coming here. And we've got some of the coolest things in this entire sheet coming up down here. 2 of my favorite ones are on this page.
Yeah, one of my favorites is in here too.
I'm so curious as to what it is. I hope it's one of mine.
Okay.
I know it's not the other one. I hope it's the other one, but I don't know.
Well, we got 6 left, so you want to take the first
one?
Okay.
So I'll take practiced expert. Well,
sure.
You would not know at all what this meant if you didn't read the description, so I'm going to do that for you today. Insert it into your mind. You've now honed your proficiency with particular skills or tools. Which ones? It doesn't matter. You get to increase your one ability score of your choice by 1. Any of them. Bruh.
Any.
That's so cool. You are so practiced. You get to pick. And gain proficiency with 1 skill or tool of your choice.
That'd be handy for, like, let's say for the guy that's looking for traps or something, or trying to lockpick stuff, the rogue. That could be very nice.
Well, how often have you gotten into a game where you realize literally everyone has the same proficiencies in things? And you're like, okay, we need somebody with something else. You take this, and you're now proficient in, I don't know, survival checks when nobody else was. Yeah. It's so good. Or your ability score, whatever you want to do.
I also don't know why you would choose a tool over a skill, but hey, that's just me.
Yeah, it's just him. So you choose one of your skill or tool proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses the chosen proficiency.
Can you imagine once you're a higher level, you have like a 4 proficiency?
You can have +5 in things at like level 7.
Even
level 1.
The rogue, this is insane for the rogue, because I already get like a certain level. They just get a standard.
Yeah, does this double thing tack on to other things that do double proficiency bonus?
I would imagine.
Oh my god.
Doesn't say it doesn't.
That's insane. This one is one of the best ones on here. It's
not
my favorite,
huge.
But I think it's ridiculous.
Because it also is one of the only ones that doesn't say, you get the ability again after a long rest. This is just forever.
You have it. Everything. You want to be the best freaking charisma check guy ever? You want to destroy your enemies with strength checks.
And this slides into what we were just saying about the ones that grow with you as you grow. This is perfect.
This is absolutely perfect. Okay, I think there's two that I think are your favorite, or could be, and this might be one of them.
Oh, the Shadow Touched?
Maybe.
Okay. So the Shadow Touched.
Then I know which one it is.
Shadow Touched.
You
learn how to bend shadows from your experience with the Shadowfell. If anyone knows me, they know I love the Shadowfell. I'm so sad because I worked so hard and prepped so much for the Shadowfell. My party went, and they were there for 2 hours and walked.
You gave us so many death flags and showed us a freaking
because it's a scary place, dude.
I don't want to die. That's also, true. I would like to say I was suggestioned out of there. I would have kept going.
That's a good point. They'll go back at some point. I'm sure they will. So this again, do you increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma by 1? Yada yada. Who cares? Everyone, they all have this. You learn the darkness spell. Ooh. 1 first level spell of your choice. The first level spell must be in the illusion or necromancy schools of magic, which is always fun because you get spooky and dark stuff. And similar to the Fey Touched one, it just, everything else after that's basically the exact
with
same.
That expanding spell slot, you can use it also for a spell slot of the appropriate level with the spellcasting ability.
That's cute. I have issues with darkness just because my party uses it all the time. But so whenever I hear darkness, I just go, no, please don't do that. Oh.
Whenever I hear darkness, I know that I'm not gonna be able to hit anything.
Yeah, but it's Shadow Touch, cute, whatever. It's fine.
It's fine. Okay, this next one is one of my absolute favorites in this entire list.
Okay,
I love it. It's so cool. So, I don't use shields particularly, but maybe I just like it because it mentions packed magic. Oh, no. That's probably all it is. So you've trained in the effective use of shields. You have shield training now.
You're right.
You gain the following benefits: Strength, Dex, or Constitution +1. One of those 3. You gain proficiency with shields.
Makes sense.
So this one doesn't have the caveat of if you don't already have it.
Yeah, because you trained.
You can now have double efficiency. I'm just kidding, but they don't. We'll see. So in combat, you can don or doff. One of the funniest words that nobody hears in the world. Don or doff a shield. Sorry, doff means to take off or remove.
Yes.
A shield as the free object interaction, which I'm sure a lot of you did not know you had in our combat episode.
Not even a bonus action.
Not even. You just yeet that boy back on your back. Doesn't matter. But again, free object interaction. If you go back to our combat, making an interesting episode, we talk about using more things outside of your action. This is one of them. Mm-hmm. So you can do this with your interaction.
This would be like pulling a lever or anything, like opening a door, that type of stuff.
Make sure you point that to your DMs because some of them will say that's your action. Maybe it's a really chonky lever.
Yeah, or they'll be like, that's part of your movement.
So if you have the spellcasting or packed magic feature, you can use that as spellcasting focus. It's super simple, but I love the flavor.
Yeah, I like it for like clerics or stuff. Because then you don't have to have your holy symbol or something in one hand, or you don't have to have, if it requires 2 hands, or if it requires a hand and you're holding a sword in the other and have a shield in one, then you have to, drop one. But with this, you could just use your shield as the focus by, say you draw the emblem of your deity on the front of it or something.
I'm sorry, but I need to do 2 of them in a row. You can do the next 2.
Okay, these are your 2 favorites?
The slasher one is, to me, ridiculous. I'll take the
last one. That's fine.
Okay. So, slasher. This is the final with the slashing damage in regards to the crusher and the piercer one. This one is also the most relevant to me, so maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think the final one is ridiculous. You've learned where to cut and have the greatest results. Bruh. Granting you the following benefits. Strength or Dex +1. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals slashing damage, you can reduce the speed of the target by 10 feet until the start of turn. Now, this one's, I don't like these either, but all of them have this. I do think this is like the second most useful in terms of movement alteration. I think the Crusher has the best one in regards to that. I don't think the Piercer has one. Movement, theirs is different. So the cool one is when you score a crit that deals slashing damage to a creature, you grievously wound it, which I think is the best 2 words.
Love that word, yeah.
That is written in this. Until the start of your next turn, the target has disadvantage on all attack rolls.
That's pretty good.
So the reason I think this one is better is because a person, if you go to Crusher, when you score crit, you with bludgeoning damage, attack rolls against this creature are made with advantage until the end of your next turn. So also, everybody in the party gets advantage, right?
Yes.
Making sure. Critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to creature.
Yeah.
Attack rolls. Okay. Cool. So in the same way, like if you've got a ton of people that can deal a bunch of damage, this is in a similar vein. Everybody gets advantage, but I think that imposing disadvantage on a monster, like final, like level 20, disadvantage on every attack roll that it can do, that is ridiculous.
I think in the long run, I think Crusher is better but you have to have other things on it as well. Like for a monk, you have to have Flurry of Blows going. For the fighter, you got to have the Champion Fighter, like I mentioned, and with the Great Weapon Fighter stuff going on.
I think Slasher, you just complete experience, is best on its own.
Yeah, you just take it. You're fine.
If you're just looking within the sheet, but Crusher has more potential.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you got. Let's get.
I thought you said you want to take the next two.
I meant next two as in shield training and Slasher. So you take the next two.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know which one's your favorite now.
I was laying back down. I can get up now.
Nah, get up. You got it. Yeah,
get up off of that thing. Tandem Tactician. Your presence in a scrap tends to elevate. I like whoever wrote these. I like
whoever the last two ones are like.
I don't know. There's some sick words in these, man.
Sick words.
In a scrap tends to elevate your comrades. Okay, so you can use the help action as a bonus action, which normally is your action.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you utilize this help action to aid an ally in attacking a creature, specifically in attacking a creature, you can increase the range of your help action by 10 feet. Additionally, you can help two allies targeting the same creature within range, which would give both of them advantage on the attack.
So that wording needs to be fixed or specified, because right now it does not work within the context of D&D.
Why do you say that?
Additionally, you can help two allies targeting the same creature. There is no quote-unquote targeting.
Right. You just would have, they would just both, yeah, you're right. The wording would basically have to say if they both attack that creature or something, yeah.
But you attack once at a time.
Well, I think you would word that in the help action. You would say, I'm helping them attack this guy. If they don't decide not to attack them, then it doesn't happen.
The suggestion I would have for Wizards of the Coast is, additionally, you can target a creature and help two allies in attacking said creature or whatever, something like that. Better worded.
Because the help action specifically says, alternatively, when it says the other option for helping someone is you can aid a friendly creature in attacking a creature within 5 feet of you. You feint, distract the target, or in some other way team up to make your allies' attack more effective. So in the help action, you specifically say, probably because they're trying to make you just go look at the help action.
So say that again with what the targeting is. Say that again.
You can aid a friendly creature in attacking a creature within 5 feet of you.
So it's within 5 feet of you. I don't know why they didn't say.
Yes, but it's extended to 10 feet.
Okay. So they should have said extend it to 10 feet. Additionally, you can help two allies attacking a creature that is within 10 feet of you.
Yeah.
And they basically I don't know why they decided to say that
both have to attack, yeah.
Your allies are targeting, because there is no targeting in D&D. And your bonus action can only pick one person at a time.
I think this one's crazy. It's though.
Weird. But I think it is really cool. But they definitely need to reword that.
Yeah, giving advantage to people is always a nice thing. Especially if you're doing it as a bonus action.
Mr. Ranger, go ahead.
Mr. Ranger. Oh, you want me to take this one too?
It's your favorite.
You don't know that. So, Tracker. You've spent time hunting creatures, honed your skills, and have gained the following benefits. You increase your wisdom score by 1. All right. You learn the Hunter's Mark spell. You can cast it once without expending a spell slot. And you must finish a long rest before you can cast in this way again, similar to all the other ones. And you have advantage on survival checks to track creatures. It's cute.
Which one's your favorite?
A Tandem Tactician was my favorite on this page.
It's really good. Why don't you say it then? This one's like a little bit bop.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's definitely outclassed by some of the other ones here. It is, again, kind of like popping into Hunter for a little bit. Let me actually see, when does Hunter get Hunter's Mark? I'm going to guess it's probably like early as well. Level 1 or 2.
This is kind of like a role-playing one that you would pick if your guy really likes to track stuff. So overall, my words were, this is fun shit, but I wanted to know what you think about them making classes a bit more agnostic, and what you think about them kind of skirting around multi-classing.
I am okay with them skirting around multi-classing because I've never been a huge fan of multi-classing, especially because of the requirements that you have to multi-class. And we'll probably have like a full podcast, or at least maybe part of a podcast talking on multi-classing specifically. Yeah. But they are very strict on it. I've even talked to my players saying, okay, we can, if you want to multi-class into this, then you can forget this part. You don't really need, I don't say you need that prerequisite because it's kind of silly. Because all the prerequisites are just ability score minimums, which to me, I always thought was odd, because let's say if someone wants to be a barbarian, let them be a barbarian. They'll just be a crappy barbarian with crappy strength, and that's fine. I guess the point of it being is they're trying to get away from, just popping into fighter for action surge or something.
Yeah. So I'm wanting to know really like if they're wanting to make it more accessible, or if they're wanting to discourage.
I think they're trying to probably discourage people from multi-class. It would be my guess.
Very interesting. I would love to hear their opinion on that. Yeah. And that whole thing I gave at the beginning, rather than doing 2 ability score increase, you get an ability score increase, often with a bunch of other feats and a lot of cool little things. They're adding some of the flavor from the previous Unearthed Arcanas. Not really flavor, the mechanics with but also
these feats make you feel a little bit better about taking them, because a lot of the other feats in the player's handbook don't give you a increase to a ability score. So it feels better to not grab an ability score increase and grab a feat, because then you get 1 ability score increase and something else on top of it.
I have 2 critiques of this whole thing.
Okay, these are things you don't want to forget?
No, what I just said is stuff I don't want to forget.
Oh, okay, good.
These are things that I couldn't forget.
All right, your critiques. Let's go.
Remove Eldritch Adept.
Makes sense, yeah.
Saw that coming. Meta Magic, not the feat. Change Twin Spell.
But then it's broken. See, then it comes into the broken part.
I don't care. Give it to me.
Oh my goodness. What were you thinking about? What were you thinking about twin spelling? What'd you want to twin spell?
I just thought a Warlock could twin spell things. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You can only twin spell things at level 2.
I mean, you could multi-class.
You could multi-class to get the spells, but then you
get a lot of sorcery points.
And then I do the Coffee Warlock. We'll talk about that at some other point. But
you probably have already.
Oh, I definitely have. So you could technically get an Eldritch Invocation or something maybe that gives you a level 2 or level 1 spell that you can cast, and you could use twin spell on that. Because there are things like that.
Yeah. Cantrips as well. You can do cantrips.
Okay. So
cantrips, you use 1 sorcery
but it can't be Eldritch Blast. Darn it. It can't be one that can target 2 people.
Yeah.
All the caveats. I hate it. But overall, I think
they were thinking about that.
It's good. They were thinking about it.
It's so dumb, I like these feats a lot, because these are very much just kind of bread and butter D&D right here.
I had fun reading through them. They definitely did alter some of the wordings on some of the stuff around here. But all in all,
that's Unearthed Arcana in a nutshell. They always got to alter some wording.
I wrote bruh all over this thing.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know. It's just what
how I feel
when I see something. No, like bruh, like bruh.
I think I'm following.
Bruh. Come on.
Come on, bruh.
Come on, bruh. You gotta follow the Dungeon Crawl on the Twitter at Dungeon Crawl Pod, or, also at Instagram, or also.
Yeah, we're going to start posting more resources and stuff on those. Like I said, go ahead and after you listen to the podcast, go and hop over to it, and we'll post up the thing I shouted out, Eyes Unclouded.
Hell yeah, that is, again, at Dungeon Crawl Pod on things where you do the at. And if you're sending us an email and you maybe got a lot more to say at us, it's thedungeoncrawlpod@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. If you want to join our Discord, that is in the description of the podcast. We have been getting a bit more chats going on there. If you're interested in following us, what we do on stream, we have some announcements there. I put some clips in my channel on there as well. So if you're interested in that, that's kind of sanctioned off right there. But I think we've encapsulated this experience.
Yeah, Unearthed Arcana wasn't too bad, man.
No, this one, again, within the next couple of days, will have the most views.
Much easier to manage than previous Unearthed Arcanas with millions of subclasses to read through.
Yeah, that stuff is always ridiculous. But I think we gave a lot of one of these. I especially liked what you said about Crusher and the detail you went into with other things you can do. I think that's really what people are looking for. So we'll try to do more of that for you guys.
Yeah, if we did something stupid, though, if you hate what we said, then please go rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And then in the review of our rating.
Really get us.
Yeah, tell us how terrible we did and how many stupid decisions and crap we said out of our mouths.
Just sock it to us. I promise you that will get our podcast removed immediately from everything existence.
It's the Braxton promise right there.
This is the Braxton promise. It will happen immediately. So
next week, unless things go awry, we're planning on doing a cool monster that is one of my. Actually, you know what? I'm saying it right now. Is my favorite monster in Dungeons and Dragons.
Also, kind of mine too.
Whoa,
I like him. You know, I like him.
Okay, all right,
dude. Oh, you need to play Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
you need to play Monster Hunter because there's an Eldritch Dragon.
There's an Eldritch Dragon.
Basically,
I need to move my butt along, man.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever, and the armor's the coolest thing. But anyways, he's been Ryan.
He's been Braxton, as always.
This is the Dungeon Crawl. Thanks for letting me speak into your ears today. I much appreciate it.